as we open the book at the chapter marked the 80s. This is the year when the young Alex Ferguson gave us an indication of future glories by winning the Cup Winners' Cup at Aberdeen. It's also a year of change. The pound coin is introduced throughout Britain. It's 1983. It is January 1983 on the Football League Files, and we have two very special guests with us. Captain Fantastic Brian Robson. Hi, Robbo.
Hi, Jim.
And Gary Bailey. Gary, welcome, all the way from South Africa.
Thanks, Jim. Delighted to be here.
Good. Now, just fill in a few gaps for us, how the years have treated you since then and what you've been doing with yourself.
Mostly working on television there in South Africa. All the matches come through from England. We see every single game. We have La Liga, Bundesliga, Serie A, the whole lot, European Champions League, and it goes to every country throughout Africa. So what is it, 50-odd countries that follow the English Premiership more than any other league, and massive Man United following. Big following for some of the other clubs as well, Chelsea and the Arsenal, because they have plenty of African players, so it makes for exciting times. And besides that, just a lot of public speaking for companies, and sun tanning and relaxing.
It's a good country for that, but deep inside there, you're still a very committed Red, aren't you?
Oh, absolutely, no question about it. I get accused of being biased on TV the whole time. And I'm not. I just say United are one of the best teams and one of the best managers. How biased is that?
Have you done any sunbathing since you've been here?
Actually, it's been sunny the last couple of days. I don't know if I get a tan, but it actually has been sunny in Manchester.
Sunny and crisp at the moment. If we go back to this era, to 1983, and the state of the club then, Robert, what would be your overall impressions where Manchester United was at the start of this year?
Well, I think it was a stage where Ron Atkinson had brought a few new players in. Norman Whiteside was just coming through the ranks, young lad come into the team. You know, so it was all a bit of Ron after 2 years trying to get a balanced team, which you know, he was after. So I think it was a season of sort of change and just everybody bedding in.
It's fair that you'd been with Ron at West Bromwich Albion, and you did a lot to help him here, I think, to help him acclimatise here almost at United.
Well, the fortunate thing for me, when I came into the club, you know, from the England team, I knew Stevie Coppell, I knew Ray Wilkins, so that helped me to settle into the club fairly quickly. But then Remy Moses came with me. The boss had already just brought in Frank Stapleton, so it was a matter of time just to get everybody settled in and know what the boss was wanting from us.
And you were a youngster between the sticks at just about the biggest club in the world.
Yeah, huge pressure position. I think I've been there about 2-3 years in the first team. But I mean, there's always pressure as a keeper at United, huge expectations. And it was a fantastic team. You know, Rob and I have spoken about it before, but how we never won the league, I don't know. Because when you looked at the team, and in fact the matches we're going to watch, I mean, we destroyed teams at times. And Frank Stapleton up front was brilliant, bring it down. Norman was a fantastic young player, hard as could be. Midfield was brilliant. Robbo was always driving in there as well. We had width, we had good defenders. You know, we kept a lot of clean sheets. End of the day, I was still mystified as to how the 80s didn't produce a league-winning team.
How about you, briefly, when you arrived here? How sharp was the learning curve here, not only on the pitch, off it as well?
Oh no, huge. I mean, different culture, different lifestyle. You know, thrown in at 20 years of age is probably a little bit too young for United. I can certainly see in David De Gea some settling in time is needed. And you had in front of you Martin Buck and Gordon McQueen, the two centre halves for Scotland, and you're busy telling them where to stand, and if they don't stand there, you're going to crack them. They're looking at you going, seriously? So yeah, it did take a while to settle in, but I think the sort of years we're looking at, I got into the team by then, we were settled. And possibly we were a little bit too dependent on the 11, the starting 11. I think if we'd have rotated a bit and had a few more fringe players who could come in.
Yeah, the squad just wasn't quite strong enough.
Okay. Because especially with Robbo, you needed to rest on a few occasions and play too many games.
The way you played, I'm not surprised about that. Listen, we got football action coming up. Let's have a look at things that were happening off the pitch, shall we? New laws, new money, and a new phone as well. Didn't need a wire attached to it.
United were firm favourites going into the game, and you know, Brighton in a division lower than the United, weren't there? And yeah, I remember that chance in the last minute.
Smith must score. Unbelievable.
When Gordon Smith was going through, I actually thought, oh, United are going to lose this. And Gary Bailey actually saved it with his legs.
It's Smith, and Bailey saved!
I was there and played in the quarter-final against Norwich at the Goldstone ground, beat them 1-0. And then after that, I moved to Leeds. And I remember thinking that could have been me. I'd have scored it, mind. I wouldn't have missed it, but that could have been me. You know, and I felt for him because he was one of my teammates 3-4 weeks ago.
I think they murdered Brighton 4 in the replay, or something like that.
I think United won that one 4-0, so I do remember it very well, and you know, I think he got a lot of stick after that for missing the chance to win Brighton the FA Cup, so it'd have been tough for him.
I remember a Cabbage Patch doll. I didn't have one because you know, I was a very masculine child. You know, I had Cindy.
I got about these fads, right? How can people be so consumed about something just for that short period of time, and then a year later people go, what was all that about?
I couldn't see the point of them, to be quite honest with you. Not that I had a lot of dolls growing up in my household anyway, maybe a couple of Action Men, but Cabbage Patch dolls, no, didn't quite get me.
I can remember the Ferrari in and around all the stores, you know, first seeing the pictures in the stores in America, and then when they arrived here, the same ugly little things, but I didn't quite get it. I didn't have kids then.
The idea was the Cabbage Patch dolls were all individual, but every one of them looked like a bit of a fat kid who's had its mouth sewn up.
I do remember them, yeah. It was a massive, massive craze. I remember everybody trying to get them, the shops had run out of them. Yeah, crazy, you know, it was amazing. Everybody wanted one.
I can remember, again, I was a journalist, and I can remember we were having to cover these kids and families who were just going to such ridiculous lengths to get their hands on a bloody Cabbage Patch doll.
It was about that big. I remember it. It was literally about that size and that thick, and it had a little aerial on the top with a yellow cap on top of it. Yeah, I mean, amazing again how they've come on. But yeah, I did have one, yeah.
But certainly couldn't afford it, and I couldn't afford to have a sack to carry it around either, probably.
A friend of mine had one where the battery was so big, he had a strap and he had it over his shoulder. Literally, it was like a blooming handbag, you know, it was a huge, great thing.
The first mobile phone I had was probably 10 years after they came out. I couldn't carry them until then. They were too big for me.
My first mobile phone, it was covering this rally up in Yorkshire, and I can remember there was a media bus, and we all piled off the bus, and there were people coming out of their houses not to go to the rally but to see these us lot on these phones stretching out of briefcases, and people go, wow, what is all that about? And if you think about it now, if you went back to those same people today, they'll all be on their iPhones and smartphones and all the rest of it. But so again, it just underlines just how quickly all that has changed.
We probably communicate more now, but in a very distant way. It's like a Twitter and things like that. I mean, I will meet people on the street and continue a conversation I've had with them on Twitter. It's just bizarre, isn't it? It's a false choice. You are in love without whether you like it or not.
Right then, it's January 1983. Let's have a quick chat about the first mobiles, shall we? I can remember them like house bricks and lasted about 35 seconds.
I can always remember my first mobile. You used to have to put it in the boot of the car to charge it up, and then you get it out, and yeah, it's like you're saying, it was like a brick. A little bit different nowadays.
And you would struggle to make a phone call to anybody on those things, but it was a heck of a status symbol, wasn't it?
It was, and when I actually went back to South Africa, I took one back with me, and no one had ever seen one. It was like, you know, science fiction. And I was driving around in the car holding it. Didn't work most of the time, but it looked very important.
One of many great business opportunities that have passed me by, and you might be the same. You didn't actually look at those and think, you know, if I invest in them in the future, Could make a heck of a lot of money.
It's a pity I wasn't that bright.
He had enough money anyway, didn't he?
Absolutely. Okay, enough of mobile phones. Let's look forward to the action. It's coming up very shortly. It's United against Forest at Old Trafford. It's January 1983 on the Football League Files. It's United against Forest. United on a long unbeaten home run. It is Ron Atkinson against another great character of the British game, Brian Clough. Your commentator is Martin Tyler.
Manchester United have selected exactly the same lineup that overwhelmed Forest here on Wednesday night. Brian Robson has recovered from a stomach bug that hampered his contribution in that match. And the patient Lou Macari is on the bench again for the 21st time this season. Forest don't make changes. Colin Todd has a thigh injury, so Stuart Gray comes into a reshuffled defence. Mark Proctor is dropped, so there's a place in midfield for Colin Walsh. Forest then kick off. All the frost has come out of the pitch since midweek. So after the drama of the Milk Cup, important First Division points at stake here. Only goal difference separating these two sides in Division 1. That goal difference is in United's favour. And Keith Hackett refereeing in front of our cameras for the third successive Saturday. Stapleton was pushed in the back. But with Coppell playing on the left for United, just signs that they lose a little of their shape on the right-hand side. Stapleton having to do more work away from the centre. He's taken up a position now around the penalty spot, watched by Willie Young. And it's Young who beats Stapleton. Coppell. And now Orbiston. Moses couldn't control it. Forest hadn't picked up Arthur Orbiston here, as Coppell laid a sensible ball into his path, but Moses couldn't convert the cross. Duxbury linking up with Stapleton. And now Whiteside, Muren! The flag was up. But Arnold Muren had come to the near post after Mike Duxbury had been the hub of the move as it built up, but the linesman was flagging. United try again with Robson. Coppell, Swing quick to close him down. Coppell prepared to take him on. Bowyer gets it out, Robson collects, fine save by Steve Sutton. The danger's not over yet. It may be now for Forest with Robertson. And here's Davenport. Robertson again. Davenport. The shot came in from Walsh, but it was the shot at the other end that caused the greater danger. Hit by Brian Robson, Manchester United's leading scorer, but Sutton responded well. Muren. Here's Coppell. Two for United in the middle. Whiteside is one. Stapleton the other, but Forest had numbers to spare in the end. Moses. Stopped by Walsh. And forward by Duxbury. Whiteside trying to make contact. And then Wallace. And here's Orbiston. And the pattern very much developing here. Into Forest's attempts to withstand United's pressure. And the free kick given against Willie Young. The defender didn't appreciate. Forest will be well aware that from a similar position, Muren floated one over on Wednesday for Gordon McQueen's head. McQueen is waiting at the far post. Moran is there as well to give United another option, but it's Koppel with a shot, and Whiteside and Koppel! He's having a good run in front of goal. 3 in his last 5 games, Steve Koppel. He hit the original shot. Whiteside tried to control it, and Koppel got a foot to it again, but it flew wide. Stapleton. Here's Whiteside. And a good touch on the ball. And using Muren. Stapleton. Augustin inside him. Stapleton trying to bend one, and Whiteside blocked by Gunn. Corner. Koppel with the corner. And nearly squeezing in at the near post after Whiteside had made contact. And almost an own goal off Gunn. McQueen. Forest stretch now. Wallace hacks it over his own bar. The case then of too many cooks almost spoiling Forest broth, because they had so many players back there. It nearly deflected from Gunn over the line. Hodge got it away. Muren with the corner. Koppel, and Sutton claims it from Robson. All hands to the pump again for Nottingham Forest. It flicked off to Koppel, who had the first effort, and then Sutton went in bravely at the feet of Brian Robson. Appealing for the decision. Mr. Haggett had no doubt that Forest should have a corner. And really for the first time this half, their supporters behind Gary Bailey's goal. A situation to bring a cheer to their throat. It's in from Gray, and Young is up, hit by Hodge. This is Davenport, wouldn't sit right for him, and now Wallace, and Bailey somehow reacted. Walsh out from McQueen. Muren miskicks. Bailey's got to come again, and did with great determination. But Gary Bailey produced an important save. He's had such a quiet first half, but when Ian Wallace swung here into the shot, Bailey blocked it with brilliant reflexes. The referee has a look at the watch and blows for half-time. Nottingham Forest have given a hard-working performance here, with Steve Sutton enjoying better fortune than he did here on Wednesday night. And Gary Bailey, after a quiet 45 minutes in the last minute of the half, producing a significant save that keeps the score at half-time. Manchester United 0, Nottingham Forest 0.
Well, Forest holding on somehow. What will United produce in the second half? You'll find out here on the Football League Files. It's the Football League Files. Our time machine has journeyed back to January 1983. It's Old Trafford, United unbeaten at home for a very long time against Forest. Forest holding on in the first half. No goals. Here comes the second with Martin Tyler.
So Manchester United starting the second half. Walsh for Forest, who are searching here to become the first team to beat Manchester United at Old Trafford since last April. A run now of 22 matches undefeated at home. Walsh. There's no pressure for Bailey. Robertson prefers the ball played to his feet. now, Moran. United have men to their left. Moran tries to find a route through the middle with Whiteside. Muren. The problem there for United was that Koppel, for whom the return pass was intended by Albiston, got a bang in the face and couldn't react. Moses this time trying to get into a wide position and indicating to Muren that he felt the pass should have gone to Duxbury. Something of a test of Manchester United's ingenuity here and ability to vary their play. No response from Keith Hackett. Whiteside look for the free kick. Moran wants to play it left. Here's Koppel. Good run by Muren. It's the side netting though. It was the timing of the move by Arnold Muren off the ball that set up the chance. Koppel was waiting and waiting. Off went Muren to make the angle. And Forest were caught rather watching the ball for a moment and not watching Muren. Duxbury. Here's Whiteside. Albiston. United have three waiting in the area for the cross. Stapleton actually moved out to try and collect. And Forest plug another gap. Albiston. Blocked by Gunn. And Albiston again can set himself. Koppel's got in. United come close again. Albiston curled in the cross. Koppel jumping with Gray and claiming that it was a corner. But a goal kick given. Robson running into the referee before he came away with the ball. Albiston. Muren had gone outside him. In for Whiteside, he can turn here. The shot hit Young. And Whiteside, who is still eligible for the United youth team, has played in some of their youth cup matches this season. Koppel's corner. Young's head, although Sutton had gone for it. Duxbury was covered by Albiston. Whiteside, who uses his body to good effect to screen the ball. And wins it back from Young. United have the throw. If it's all a little muddled, it's a reflection of the problems that Forest are giving United. Whiteside. Good cross. McQueen, and a brilliant save from Sutton. McQueen must have thought he'd done it again. Sutton plunging to his right. Well, Whiteside initially somehow managed to get a cross in from this position. McQueen had stolen up, made good contact, and Sutton not only stopped it, but held it. Wallace with a back pass that puts Sutton in trouble again. And And again, the goalkeeper is equal to the task. Gray. Robson wouldn't let Bowyer settle. Whiteside, wriggling free. But Young denied him the shot. But perhaps only momentarily. But Gunn provided the second line of defence. Coppell's corner. Sutton off his line, and the handling is secure. Davenport furthest forward for Forest. Stapleton. Moses had to play it quickly before he was flattened from behind by Walsh. Young thought twice, which may have been a mistake, and Whiteside flings himself down, and Mr. Hackett gives the penalty. Stuart Gray was the offender, but Willie Young will take part of the blame. Young might have cleared it earlier before Gray caught Whiteside. So the aggression of Norman Whiteside has paid off to the extent that United now have a chance to end the stalemate. It rests with Steve Coppell. It's 1-0. Sutton given no chance. The penalty comprehensively executed by Coppell. High into the top corner. So Forest, who have been content to contain for the most part, and perhaps nick something on the break, now certainly have to adopt a more positive attitude. Hackett wants to speak to Steve Hodge, and indeed will take his name, presumably for a word out of turn. Duxbury. Penalty coming after 64 minutes. Now Moses, Whiteside ahead of him. Muren. Muren. Forest have funneled back, but they haven't spotted Duxbury. And it flashed across the face of the goal. Mike Duxbury had stolen forward here. Stapleton was on his way for a shorter pass. Swept wide by Robson. Whiteside again using the body to hold off the defender who was Gray, and it's let in. Muren! Norman Whiteside again involved with the first ball that was played into him, and then it wriggled through for Muren, who pivoted quickly and beat Sutton to the goalkeeper's right. "20 minutes remaining now. And it may well be that it's beyond Forest's redress. It's interesting that although Brian Robson is the only United player in double figures this season, players from every department have chipped in when the need has arisen. Bailey quick to pick out Orbiston. And after being frustrated for more than an hour, United have responded with 2 goals in 6 minutes. And here's Whiteside. Who's been directly involved in both of them. It is penalised for a spot of pushing. So it has been an unhappy visit again to Manchester for Nottingham Forest. Chris Fairclough, still a teenager, the central defender. Walsh trying to taunt Duxbury. Forest have another corner. And their longest spell of pressure of the match. Gray. Young going for it, so too was Fairclough. Wallace and Fairclough against the bar. Well, this is the 5th meeting between these two clubs in the last 2 seasons. And Forest haven't scored in any of them, and they're out of luck here when Fairclough had the shot and it hit the crossbar. Manchester United have beaten Nottingham Forest again, this time to win 3 important First Division points. The game really turning on the penalty incident after 63 minutes when Norman Whiteside was adjudged to have been tripped by Stuart Gray. Steve Coppell scored from the spot, and from then on Manchester United were always likely winners. The second goal 6 minutes later from Arnold Muren. A final score at Old Trafford, it's Manchester United 2, Nottingham Forest 0.
Forest can't score against United. Forest certainly couldn't beat United at that time. 2-0 to the Reds, 2-0 to Ron Atkinson. We have 2 great characters with us, Gary Bailey and Brian Robson. We'll talk about the game shortly. We have seen Manchester United beating Nottingham Forest, running the game as well by 2-0 on the Football League files. Looking back at those pictures, looking back at those images, you don't see too much of those in your role as a South African TV presenter. What are your thoughts?
Well, firstly, football was played differently then. Some of the tackles flying in wouldn't be allowed today. But you know what, we've hammered them. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, they were very close to us on the log. We were second, they were third.
Yeah, Liverpool away and clear.
We've taken them apart. I mean, keeper Steve Sutton's made a couple of blinding saves. Could easily have been 4 or 5. So again, it just builds on what I said earlier. The team was a very good team. And we've run sides into the ground at Old Trafford. I think we're 22 matches unbeaten at Old Trafford then. I don't know, maybe it was our away form or whatever, but you look at the side there and you think that's a championship winning team.
Yeah, when you look at some of the players, I mean, people like Stevie Coppell, Arnold Muren, Remy Moses in the midfield, Whiteside up front. I mean, the pity about that, I mean, you look at that team, Stevie Coppell, Remy Moses, Norman Whiteside, they all had to finish within a couple of years after that game because of injury. Great loss to the game.
In some ways, it was such a physical battle in those days. It's total contrast to what it is now.
But that's the way football was played in those days. You know, the referees would let you get on with it, and if somebody give you a belt, they'd say, "Oh, you can have a belt back," and that's it. That's the way the referees refereed. But the players used to know that, and so they'd just get on with it. It wasn't any of this rolling about trying to get people booked and sent off. In those days, it was one of those where you'd say, "Don't show it if they've hurt you."
And it's really, really interesting as well when we've had him in here as a guest, Norman Whiteside, on the Football League files, and Martin Tyler saying that, he played in the FA Youth Cup as well that season.
What a talent. I mean, 16 youngest player to play in the World Cup. Brilliant, brilliant talent. Great mind and great ability to see things. I just wonder about the pitch. I mean, I was looking last night against West Ham at an incredible state the pitch is in. We had mud and slush there throughout the year, and I just think if we had today's technology, given that we were a footballing side, I wonder if that would have helped, because little Jesper Olsen on the one wing, little Walden Stracker on the other wing. It was a football in the Arnie Muren's passing was stunning. So team. So the pitch didn't help us in those days.
That's another thing that has changed dramatically, the state of the pitch. Just before we see the main instance, a word about Brian Clough, who I alluded to, one of the great characters of British football, and everyone involved in football at that time has got some sort of Cloughy story.
Well, I can remember when I was playing for West Bromwich Albion, I got voted Player of the Year for the Midlands, and I had to go to this presentation, and Brian Clough was presenting me with a trophy, and I walked up and I had one hand in the pocket, and he said to me, he says, "Listen, young man," he says, "you will get nowhere," he says, "if you don't get your hand out your pocket." And that was what he said to me as he's presenting the trophy to me.
And fair to say, whenever you got the award subsequently, and you got quite a few, the hands were out of your pockets.
Definitely. It's always stuck in there.
Back to this one, we witnessed a great goalkeeping performance, didn't we? And it took until the second half and a penalty to get past Steve Sutton.
Yeah, no, look, I mean, he wasn't always considered as a top keeper, but very impressed there. But look at Norman, the speed of his feet.
But the actual ability that he's done there, where he knows he's going to lunge in, and so he's just chipped the ball over the top. Great bit of skill, and then he gets brought down. What a fantastic pen.
And Stevie Coppell, who, again, every time we've seen it on the Football League files, is a little magician going down the right wing, and that ball always comes in as well. I didn't have him down as a penalty taker, I must admit. No,
I think part of the reason he never became a regular penalty taker was because Arnie Muren, as soon as he started taking them, Arnie never missed. So he was the regular one. But when you look back at a replay of that, I don't know why Stevie Coppell didn't keep taking them.
Goalkeeper's perspective on that Coppell penalty?
Oh, great finish. But, I think it was literally a month or two later he had his knee injury, because in the 83 Cup final against Brighton, he didn't play, if I'm not mistaken. I don't think Stevie played. He was already struggling with a knee injury. So it shows you how football changes in the space of 2-3 months. He goes from putting in a great performance there to having to retire from the game.
I think I saw him get that one. I think it was a Hungarian did that.
I played in that game at Wembley.
Yeah. And then we mentioned Arnold Muren, and he chips in here with number 2 that seals it, and it's another United victory over Nottingham Forest.
Good play, Norman on the turn again. You see, makes it possible. Mickey Ducks has gone on the run, and Arnie with his right foot. He was normally left-footed, but he tucks it away.
That's a swinger. That's a bit like my finish. That one, Arnie with his right foot.
But Norman again able to turn people on the edge of the box, and Mickey Ducks had a great engine. He could keep running. But you know, when you watch the highlights of this game, it could have been 4 or 5 easily, and it so reminds me of the current United team who can quite often run teams over. I just wonder if maybe we were too gung-ho, we were too forward, too often got caught on the counter-attack occasionally, and maybe we conceded a couple of soft goals. But I see a lot of similarities between that team and the current United side.
I think talking about Ron Atkinson, I mean, he loves the romance of football, and he loves players like Muir with that little bit of extra, that little bit of skill.
That's why tactically he would never say anything about the defensive side of it, Ron. He just wanted you to go out there, enjoy your football, and play with flair and excite people. That's the way he wanted Manchester United to play. You know, and that portrayed with the type of players that he brought into the club.
Absolutely. Gary, I just want, before we see some of your best moments, the back pass rule that was changed in 1992, it meant that you never played without being able to pick the ball up from the back pass, because that's one of the things that jumps out from these matches. The ball gets knocked back and you go, what's the goalkeeper going to do here? And he picks it up.
Yeah.
Totally different game for a keeper these days.
Different game, but the nice thing was you picked it up and threw it straight away. So as soon as it came, you're looking for a fullback, maybe someone on the halfway line. Whereas today they've got to control it, they've got to worry about the bobble, they've got to worry about players closing them down. And every once in a while you do see a keeper fluff it and give a bad pass and put somebody under pressure. We never had that problem. Just picked it up, it's in your control, not a problem. Pick somebody out with a throw.
And also you had a heck of a boot on you.
Yeah, well, it was handy to have. I mean, Route 1 football was fine. December, January, when it was slush and mud, it was just fine. Stick it over the top, aim for Joe Jordan or someone.
Get it over the sand dunes.
And we picked out, listen, you've come all the way from South Africa. Goodness me, we've got to show you some decent bits of Gary Bailey in this one. And you did okay. There's one thing, I think you're going to pick an argument with Martin Tyler, the commentator, aren't you?
Yeah, I'm going to pick on him just now.
Not this one.
Yeah, Wallace turns and hits it. Just look at the state of the goalmouth there. It's sand everywhere. And that's just a pure reflex save. Someone turns, you stick a foot out, you do what you have to do.
Yeah, it's a great save, though.
There's a bit of toilet roll just there for you, just to make things interesting. That's a good stop with the old knee. And here's the one I think that you beg to differ, don't you?
He says it hit the crossbar, never tipped it on. I mean, you know what, keepers don't give much praise as it is, so when it comes along, you grab it.
I think on your stay here in England, you ought to claim Martin Tyler personally on that one and say, I've just seen something, by the way. And I must admit, it was a heck of a hand to get that up under the bar after otherwise Forrest would have scored a rare goal against United.
Yeah, Fairclough, of course, who went on to do so well for England. Yeah. That was one of his early games, that.
Yeah. And Robbo, perhaps one of your quieter games, but you got the win at the end of it. Of course, you battered Forest in the cup as well in the week, hadn't you? And here are a few of your highlights from this one.
Yeah, we did. We kept forcing them back, and Sutton was in great form. He should have let that one in. But no, we played some good football, and he actually kept Forest in the game because we were dominant in that match, and I felt it was only a matter of time before we'd break them down, and get the right result.
It was quite depressing in the league, wasn't it? Because Liverpool were well gone, and I think Watford even finished above you in the league.
I think Watford finished second that year. They were an up-and-coming team at that time.
Just been promoted.
Yeah, but it's like we said earlier in the programme, I think it was because Ron was trying to change things around, and he was just trying to get us to play the way that he wanted us to play. And I still feel that it was still a case of the squad wasn't quite strong enough to take us forward and challenge Liverpool for the title at that time.
And also, if you bear in mind, we got to 2 cup finals that year. League Cup 83.
Yep.
And FA Cup. So even more need for a bigger squad when you're chasing cups on 2 fronts and the league.
Top memory, by the way, and also perhaps didn't go down too badly in this part of Manchester. City got relegated that year.
Okay.
That makes this a good programme.
I thought we could end that one on a smile from both of you. Hey, Gary, great to have you here. Robbo, thanks as always.
Thanks, Jim.
That's it. Another Football League Files done and dusted. Be sure to join us next time. Cheerio.